Most people believe a tidy home depends on constant cleaning, but the real secret often starts before anything even enters the house. The first habit is refusing free items without thought. A promotional pen, a giveaway tote bag, an extra sample nobody asked for, a conference brochure stuffed into a bag out of politeness. None of it costs money, but everything costs space. Many Japanese households apply a simple filter before accepting anything into their homes. Would I actually purchase this myself, using my own money, if given the choice? If the honest answer is no, it stays behind, because every object that enters a home must eventually be stored somewhere. Cleaned occasionally, moved during organizing, and dealt with again when its usefulness expires, regardless of how cheaply or freely it originally arrived. The second habit builds directly on this idea, keeping only what genuinely adds value to daily life rather than accumulating out of habit or obligation. Instead of asking, "Should I keep this?" the more useful question becomes, "Does this still serve me in some meaningful way right now?" This isn't about emptying every shelf or adopting extreme minimalism, but about honestly noticing the items kept purely from guilt, sentimental pressure, or a vague sense of future usefulness that somehow never actually materializes. A home filled only with things you genuinely appreciate feels lighter and calmer, even with the exact same square footage as before. The third habit tackles one of the sneakiest and most overlooked clutter sources of all: paper. Receipts, appliance manuals, old bills, greeting cards, tax documents, and random handwritten notes accumulate quietly until drawers overflow without anyone consciously noticing the gradual buildup happening right under their nose. Many households now scan important documents digitally and store family photos electronically rather than in bulky physical albums, understanding fully that memories genuinely live within people themselves, not inside the physical objects meant to represent them. Keeping a small handful of truly meaningful keepsakes preserves sentiment beautifully. Keeping absolutely everything from every occasion eventually turns cherished memory into an overwhelming storage burden that becomes genuinely impossible to sort through properly later. Once you've gained some control over what actually enters your home, the next meaningful challenge becomes organizing what remains efficiently. And this is precisely where three specific storage habits make an enormous measurable difference in daily life. The fourth habit involves storing things vertically rather than stacking them horizontally on top of each other. Open a typical closet almost anywhere, and you'll find shirts piled into precariously leaning towers, plastic containers hidden completely behind other containers, and items buried at the bottom of forgotten stacks nobody's touched in months. Japanese storage philosophy flips this entirely on its head. Clothes stand upright neatly in drawers, files stand vertically on shelves like books in a library, and everything remains visible at a single glance rather than requiring frustrating excavation every single time. This one's simple shift means you always know exactly what you own without searching, and retrieving one specific item never disturbs or collapses everything else stacked around it. The fifth habit might genuinely be the most counterintuitive on this entire list: never filling any storage space completely to its maximum capacity. Most people naturally assume that maximizing every available inch of cabinet space automatically equals better, more efficient organization. But Japanese households often deliberately stop filling shelves at around 80% capacity, intentionally leaving room to breathe rather than cramming in one more item. This isn't wasted space at all. It's genuinely functional space with real purpose. A drawer with room remaining stays easy to open smoothly, easy to see clearly into, and easy to return items to quickly without a fight. A drawer packed to its absolute breaking limit becomes a daily physical struggle that eventually gets abandoned entirely in favor of setting things down. The sixth habit ties these previous two together beautifully: standardizing containers across your home and labeling everything clearly and consistently. When boxes match in size and shape throughout your storage areas, and clear labels remove any guesswork whatsoever about what belongs exactly where. An entire household can maintain lasting order without needing to memorize complicated systems or rely on one person's mental map. The environment itself quietly provides the answer to every question, eliminating the mental effort and decision fatigue that usually causes organization systems to collapse within mere weeks of enthusiastic initial setup. Beyond storage systems themselves, 3 specific daily behaviors ultimately determine whether mess silently accumulates over time or stays perpetually under control without much conscious effort. The 7th habit is returning every single object immediately after use, without any delay whatsoever, regardless of how tired or busy you feel in that particular moment. Keys go on the table just for now. A jacket hangs on a doorknob until later. A pair of scissors stays on the kitchen counter after one quick use, and each small, seemingly harmless postponement becomes the actual seed of eventual widespread clutter. Japanese households genuinely treat every item as existing in only 2 possible states: actively being used in this exact moment, or already back safely in its designated home. Nothing lingers indefinitely in between these 2 states, which means mess literally never gets the chance to compound gradually into something overwhelming and exhausting to fix later. The 8th habit extends this same core principle into activity itself, cleaning as you go rather than treating cleanup as an entirely separate task saved for later. While vegetables cook slowly on the stove, the cutting board gets washed immediately during that idle time. While water boils for pasta, the counter gets wiped down thoroughly. Small messes get handled while they're still small, manageable, and quick to address, rather than being allowed to accumulate into one single exhausting project, waiting ominously at the very end of an activity or meal. The 9th habit closes out each individual day with a brief 5-minute reset performed consistently before bed. Not deep cleaning, not an elaborate hour-long project, but simply just enough focus time to return stray items to their proper places, fold a stray blanket, and wipe down one table surface. This small nightly ritual means tomorrow morning genuinely begins with a fresh, reset space rather than inheriting yesterday's unfinished business and lingering visual clutter, effectively breaking the exhausting cycle where weekend cleaning becomes the only designated time disorder ever gets properly addressed. 2 specific zones within any home deserve particularly focused attention because they quietly set the emotional tone for how the entire living space actually feels day to day. The 10th habit involves keeping all flat surfaces, tables, kitchen counters, work desks, mostly empty at essentially all times, with very few exceptions. These particular surfaces attract clutter almost effortlessly because setting something down there requires absolutely no decision-making at all, which is exactly why mail, keys, receipts, and random miscellaneous objects gather there first and fastest. By consciously allowing only genuinely frequent use items to remain visible there, these surfaces stay visually calm and inviting, and wiping them completely clean takes mere seconds, rather than requiring a full reorganization project beforehand. The 11th habit protects the floor itself with equally strict, non-negotiable rules. Nothing whatsoever lives there except furniture and fixtures specifically designed for that exact purpose from the start. Once a floor starts silently accumulating stray bags, forgotten boxes, or discarded clothing items, it quietly becomes unofficial secondary storage space, and the entire room begins feeling noticeably smaller and more chaotic as a direct, measurable result of this creeping habit. Keeping floors completely and consistently clear does something genuinely remarkable to a living space. It makes rooms feel dramatically larger, makes vacuuming effortless and quick, and removes an enormous amount of visual noise that our eyes constantly process even when we're not consciously. Even the actual physical mechanics of cleaning itself benefit tremendously from one specific Japanese sequential approach. The 12th habit follows a strict, logical order, always top to bottom, and consistently inside to outside. Dust naturally falls downward due to gravity, so cleaning shelves and high surfaces after already vacuuming the floor means loose dirt simply lands right back onto the floor you already finished cleaning, forcing you to repeat identical work completely unnecessarily and wasting valuable time. By deliberately starting at ceiling height and working systematically, methodically downward from there, then moving from a room's deepest interior point outward toward the exit door, every single motion becomes genuinely efficient rather than frustratingly redundant, ultimately saving both precious time and physical energy across an entire cleaning session from start to finish. The 13th habit happens reliably each morning before any actual cleaning even begins, opening the windows completely, even just briefly for a few minutes, regardless of the current season or outside temperature. Fresh air moving actively through a living space does considerably more than simply freshen the immediate atmosphere. It symbolically and psychologically resets the entire environment, clearing away stagnant air and built up moisture that would otherwise linger unnoticed for days. Natural sunlight entering a room also makes accumulated dust and subtle clutter far more visible and noticeable to the naked eye, which naturally increases everyday awareness and strongly encourages more consistent maintenance, simply because underlying problems become significantly harder to conveniently ignore once properly illuminated by daylight. The 14th and final habit on this list isn't really a physical action at all, but rather a fundamental shift in perspective that quietly powers and sustains everything else mentioned throughout this entire video. Cleaning with genuine gratitude rather than simmering resentment. Many Japanese households approach their everyday belongings with sincere appreciation rather than mere obligation. The dining table that's faithfully held countless family meals over the years. The kitchen knife that's carefully prepared thousands of individual dishes. The well-worn shoes that carried you comfortably through an entire demanding, exhausting workday. Cleaning, viewed genuinely through this particular lens, completely stops feeling like tedious punishment and instead becomes a meaningful act of care, directed toward things that have quietly, faithfully served you well over time. This particular mindset naturally changes purchasing behavior too, since people who genuinely appreciate their existing possessions tend to buy new items less impulsively overall and let go of unused belongings far more thoughtfully whenever that eventual time actually comes. When everything around us feels cheap and disposable, clutter grows without any real natural limit or boundary. When possessions are genuinely respected and valued, intentional decision-making naturally follows as a direct consequence. These 14 interconnected habits, taken together as a complete system, don't actually demand more willpower, more discipline, or more hours spent physically cleaning. They simply give mess dramatically fewer opportunities to ever appear in the first place, which might honestly be the single most valuable lesson Japanese homes have to offer anyone genuinely tired of fighting an endless, exhausting cleaning battle week after week.